Hi, Tony from the Heritage Line, and we're back to another midweek mailbag. So, we've got a few items here. So, let's get stuck into them. Let's see what we've got. Right, first things first, where do we start? Start off, right, this is very random. It just says wait. This is a recent one. So let's have a look. Let's see what we've got in this one. And we've got LEDs. Right, these are, I believe, the 605s. Looking at the size of them. In fact, let's try and get one out. These are never easy to get out. I always make a right mess. Let's just pull. Oh, there goes the T. Never mind. Try and wrap these up again. I'm not keen on these bags. Right, let's try and get that in there. Right, let's zoomy downy. There we go. I do have a ruler here, and the ruler will actually tell me different scales. So that's a 605 part 603, sorry, 603. So if you look here, and get it to focus. Come on. There we go. So you can see a 603, and that is the LED there. So as you can see, it will fit on a 603 pad. Right, now then, battery tester time. Let's zoom me out a little bit. Got the old famous LED tester here. So let's, now notice I've got a little bit more wire to play with on the end of these. So that's always a bonus. And yeah, there we go. Let's turn some lighting off. Let's go for it. Well, that didn't really make a lot of difference. Turn this one off as well. There we go. So it's just a warm white LED. I've got 50 in one bag, 50 in another bag. So that's a lot of LEDs. But as you can imagine, plenty of stuff to do with LEDs. I do like my lighting. Excuse me, I do like my lighting. So yeah, good start. So that's 100 wired SMD LEDs. So let's crack on. Let's see what's in the next bag. Right then, so here is the listing for the 603 warm white LEDs. As you can see, this is how much I paid. It was £5.09 for 50 of these. And we do have a choice. We've got the 0402 whites, the warm whites, reds, the 0603, which is the size I have picked. We've got whites there, 510. The warm whites, 519. Now that's the ones I went for, and I actually ordered 2 packets. And of course we've got the reds as well. It's the warm whites I went for. And as you can see, you get 300 millimeters, should I say, or 30 centimeters of actual wiring on it. So I actually tend to keep any wires I cut off because they're very, very fine and can be very useful for very small applications. Does it give me any more details? I don't want to be in reviews, do I? Let's go down to specs. It doesn't really tell me a lot here. Tells you that there's 50 in the bag. Again, it's not really telling me much. 3 volts. We know an LED is 3 volts. So obviously you will need a resistor for it. This tells me a little bit more. It's telling me it's made with quality materials. Super mini LED. Well, it is tiny. There's no debates on that one, guys. And we know from previous listings we can get them in different colours. So it's not really telling much that we do not know. And we've got some nice pictures of things that have been lit. So yeah, not much to really say about this item. As you can see, it's free shipping if it's over £8. And so there you go, guys. That's the listing for this item. Right, now this is very random. Paul and Co. No idea. No idea. Whatever it is, it's 29th of the 4th, 24. So it's a year ago. Let's have a look. What are you? Okay. You're just some capacitors. And some resistors. And it doesn't even tell me. I have got no idea what this was for. I must have had some idea at the time, but it'll just go into stock. Let me see if I can actually find out. We shall swing my lamp into existence. These are 1 microfarad capacitors. And the resistors, off the top of my head, I will have to look up the code. So I will come back to you on that one. This is just a random buy. And we'll see if I can find any listings. So these are the resistors that I bought. They actually are 20k resistors. Now the only reason I can think I've actually got 20k resistors are just probably for LED lighting. And again, it is probably just to dim down some of the red LEDs. Because the red LEDs can be very, very bright. Because you only really need 2 volts to power a red LED. And if I'm using 12 volts, I obviously need a resistor. And 1k will safely do it. But 20k should dim it a little bit. I may be wrong. I won't find out until I actually wire it in. But I would think that is the main reason I've done it. And I've only bought 5 of these. And, that'll be so I can simply just have a play. You can see what I actually paid for it there. It is just a 1/4 watt resistor. And it was free delivery. So, cheap as chips. Nothing special really. It is just a resistor. There's a little bit about resistance and tolerance and the usual guff, but yeah, it is just a resistor. And these are the capacitors that I got. Again, I only got 5 because it's something to play with. This I actually think I bought. I want to experiment a little bit with coach lighting, and basically I'm trying to get rid of the flicker for the LEDs. And to do that, you use a capacitor. Now, in any engaged coach, you are very limited to space. Space determines how much of the size of the capacitor you can actually put in, and height. Now, it was a 1 microfarad capacitor that I used. I went for the 50 volts. And I actually went for a 5-pack, which of course they're out of stock. But you can actually get one for £1.89, or you could actually get a pack of 10 for £3.29. So I reckon I probably paid about £181.90 for it. And as again you can see, it's free delivery, and it's just one of those things that I'm just gonna mess around with in my own time, and we'll see what comes of it. So yeah, it's just a capacitor. It's nothing special. It's just an electrolytic capacitor, and I just want to have a little play with some coach lighting in the future. So there you go. Right, next item. It just says screws. I've got no indication. Oh, another one from 24. April 24. Got no idea what I was thinking about in April. What have we got? Oh, these are screws. Aha. Okay, these are definitely not screws. Okay, I believe, yes, they are 603 packages. These, I would say, these are the infrared LEDs. Let's see if I can zoom in a little bit for you. So these are infrared LEDs, and these are the receivers, if I remember rightly. Let me have a closer look. Yeah, they are the actual receivers, I believe. I will need to verify this in the listings. But yes, that is a bit interesting. Not even sure where these came from. So I will have to have a look, and we will see if we can find the listings. So these are the 0603 infrared emitter and receiver diodes. These are what I got in the strips, and basically you get 10 in a strip, and one's the receiver and one's the emitter. As you can see, they are very, very tiny, and this is what they are. You get 10 for 197 of the emitter, and the receiver are £2 and 3 pence each. I paid a little bit on the postage, which was £1.79, and these will actually need wiring up. This shows you a little bit about the specs for them. They actually give the actual a code of what it is. It tells you a little bit about the data on it. As you can see there, lots of applications. Obviously it's a sensor in essence. We get a little bit about the actual package size. We get a little bit about the ratings and the voltage we can actually put through the things, and the operating temperature as well. And a bit about the actual bandwidth as well, because obviously these things have a certain bandwidth in which they emit and receive, and it all has lots and lots of relevance. And these I actually got for some sensors. As you can see, it also shows you the anode, the cathode, so it's all the details for the receiver and the emitter there. So there is actually plenty there to look at, guys. So we'll go over and we'll actually have a look at the sensors that I'm going to alter. So these are the actual sensors that I have been played around with in the past. I have shown this in a past video, but these are basically the sensors. And you can search around for these. You can get them in multiples of 5s and 10s. This is just a single one, and essentially you can actually see the emitter and the receiver there. And what I'll be doing is wiring up the SMD versions and then wiring them back to this board and taking these two out. That way I can actually fit the SMD package in between a couple of sleepers. It'll make it a lot smaller on the actual track and a lot harder to see from a modelling perspective, but will work just as well and a lot better than seeing some big chunky sensors in the middle of the track. And that is what they are basically for. I have, like I said, I have done a previous video on it where I have experimented with it, but I've got an upcoming project where I actually want to utilise these sensors now. So I will be actually getting in a bit more hardcore. I've proved the theory, and now I want to actually put it into practice and actually make these things work for me. So there you go. These are the actual sensors. I wonder if we can find any deals. And there we go. So you can actually get 5 boards for £5.10, and that's actually in the UK. Or you can even get them cheaper further afield. It's just a case of looking around, guys. But you can get them in 5 pieces. You know, you can even get them in 10 pieces as well. And again, the more you buy, the cheaper they actually become. So these are actually modules that are worth, playing around with. And when I do get that project up and running and I get it filmed, I will be sharing it with you and you'll be able to see the outcome and the logic I was actually trying to sort of share with you and how it would actually possibly work for the model railway community. So those are the sensors, guys. Right, on to the next one. Now what does this say? Oh gosh. LED diodes. More lights, guys. Well, that's what it's telling me. Now this was from February 23. Okay. Oh. Okay. These are 603 yellows. So, let's get one out of the packet. Now I'm making a right mess again. These things get tangled up so easy. Right, I've got one away. Right, let's wire it up. Red to red. And this will be black to black. And yes, there we go. Let's turn the lights off. There you go. That is definitely a yellow, definitely a different compared to the white warm one. So yeah, this is just another LED, another pre-wired LED. So we've got a yellow one this time. It's all been about LEDs this time. Okay, fair enough. Right, we'll take you to the listing and see what we can find. So these are the 0603 pre-wired yellow LEDs. And we'll go on to this link here. These are what I've purchased. I think I ordered 10. And as you can see, the price varies. We've been down this route many times before. You've really got to shop around. I paid nowhere near that price for them. And you've just got to look around really and find the best value for you. And there's lots and lots of variations, lots and lots of prices. And they get cheaper and cheaper the further afield you go. So if they come from China, they'll be a lot cheaper than a UK seller. And again, we've seen all this before. That's actually quite a nice picture, that one. That gives you a good indication of the different sizes. There is actually a size smaller than an 0402. You can actually get an 0201, and they are
ridiculously tiny, and you can get some pre-wired. So it's nothing new, nothing we haven't seen before. And obviously, I got some yellow ones on this occasion, and they'll be for the level crossing project. Because with the yellow crossing project, you have two red lights flashing, but there's also a yellow light underneath, which is a warning light to tell you that the gates are actually going to go down and to stop. And that's what the yellow LED will actually be for. So as you can see, the lights and everything are starting to come together for this level crossing project. So we are getting there, and eventually we might see a working level crossing. I'm not promising anything about the gates at the minute. I'm just thinking of the lights and maybe a bit of sound. But there you go, those are the LEDs in question. And again, you just need to search around, but at least this is giving you an idea of what you are actually looking for.
Right, next parcel, guys. I have got no idea what this is. No idea at all. Not even sure how to get into it. Maybe at the back there. Let's just see what happens. Aha. Oh. Okay. Oh, that is a nice find. Yes. Okay, let's have a look. I'll zoom you in, guys. These are Trainer-O-Matic. These are Next 18 female breakout boards. If you look here, we've actually got the breakout board there. These are what they plug into. And underneath we have all the actual pins to solder to. So I can access all the pins if I wished. As you can see, there's actually 18 solder pads under there. Obviously, next 18 stands for 18 pins. So these are female adapter boards, type 1. And I do not have a wiring diagram, so obviously I will have to hunt out a wiring diagram for it. But I'm sure we can find one of those as well, and we'll see how we get on with those. So yeah, excellent. That should keep me quiet for a little bit.
So these are the next 18 female adapter boards. I think of them as breakout boards. And it's the female that I have actually got. This is what you need if you decide you want to plug a decoder in. Now this might also be an option if you was going to hardwire a loco. Because what you could actually do is you could wire this up, wire it to all the relevant parts in your loco, and then just literally plug a decoder in. Now you can see all the pads underneath. There are actually lots of pads. I have done a decoder video, and it does actually explain a bit about the Next 18 protocol. But in this one you get 5 boards. That is what I paid for it. They are currently out of stock, I'm afraid, but they will come back into stock, or there may be other manufacturers that will have these in. DCC, I believe, make a breakout board as well, but these are slightly tinier. That actually shows all the wiring connections to it. So as you can see, you have your motor in, your motor negative, your motor positive. That'll be your right rail and your left rail. And then obviously you've got things like your grounds, your data, speaker. A5 is the speaker, A6 is the speaker, so your speaker will connect between those two. And it's just a useful little adapter board. This one's a very, very useful image. Let's zoom in on this image, shall we? There we go. So yes, you can actually get a male version as well as the female version. And I suppose, I'm not really sure. The male version will be so if you're actually plugging it into a loco that's already got the actual decoder socket in. I suppose that's so you could actually wire it up to a different decoder. But I'm actually looking at the female version because I want to use next 18 decoders. Obviously, they're engaged size decoders. And there you go. That actually gives you the breakdown of what all the connections are for. Now, you might wonder why is there a clock and a data? And these are usually for things like the SUSI outputs, or SCSI, should I say. And it's another form of daisy chaining decoders together. It's quite an old school protocol, but it does still exist. So you've got all the wiring there, and so everything on the site is there. That is exactly what you need. So there you go. That is the actual decoder. Does it actually say anything about it? Not really. That is all it actually says. But it shows you all the pictures. This is actually sold by the creator of this board, Fabrique. And I like the way he's put that. This is not a decoder, it is a board for a Next 18 decoder and for your own projects. So don't get confused. There's a lot of people out there get confused with blanking plates and whether the blanking plate is actually decoder or not. So I can understand why he's actually put that. He's saying this is a Type 2 adapter board, so I reckon this is probably the second series of one of his designs. But it will do the job. And, you know, that price for 5 of them is actually quite a good price. So there you go. Those are the Next 18 female breakout boards, or adapter boards if you want to say. So there you go.
Right, last parcel, guys. And it's quite a big box of this one. This is from Rails of Sheffield. There we go. Let's have a look. What do you think it is, guys? Do you think it's a loco? Do you think it's a wagon? Any ideas? Shall we have a look? Right. Oh, we've got bubbles. Look at that. Oh, they make a good popping sound. And there we go. Box is empty. Take the invoice out, and I have a sound decoder and some figures. Right, let's have a look at this bad boy. Right, this is a Hornby Next 18 sound decoder, and to be honest, I just couldn't resist this for the price it was. And I want to do one or two little experiments with it, in all honesty. Hornby did have a flash sale, and for some reason they put a few sound decoders on it. Now, I didn't realise that other manufacturers, other retailers should I say, were also doing the same sale. Until I saw Ian at Ian's Engage. Brilliant little channel. He's really nice guy, fun to watch and quite informative as well. And he got one of these. Now these things normally you're looking about £70 for. And to be honest, this was, how much did this cost me? £34.50. That's like half price. And I just couldn't resist it. So what you do is you actually put your own sounds on. You go onto, they'll download their app, you select the sound you want to put on, and away you go. Now, I don't actually put my sounds into locos. I actually do what you call underboard sound, which means I actually wire it direct into the DCC bus, and I have a separate amplifier. That is the decoder, and that is actually quite a good size. Now, it wires up through Bluetooth, but it's also DCC ready as well. I believe you link it to your phone via Bluetooth, put your sound on it, then you change it back to DCC. This is obviously the speaker enclosures. I don't get a speaker with it. Obviously you have to probably buy the speakers separate, but that's not an issue. Oh, we've actually got some solder points underneath for the speakers as well. So yeah, that is very, very nice. So that's going to be fun to play with. The main reason I went for this one is because I don't know if you actually know the Hornby sound decoders. Now, if you get a diesel sound decoder, that will work wired up to a DCC bus. You turn your speed up, you will get a sound out of it. Now, with the steam decoders, you don't. They have to be wired to a motor, and they work off the back EMF. Now, these, I've been informed, will work directly up to the DCC bus. And the proof's going to be in the pudding, guys. Simple as that. So this one I will be putting a steam sound on, and then we'll be giving it a little spin, and we'll see what happens. So yeah, it was just the right price at the right time, and it meant it was affordable for me to have a play. So that is the decoder. It's a very big box. I suppose there's some instructions in there, so we'll put that back into there. We'll leave it out for now, and we've got some figures. Let's zoomy. There we go. Oh, these are just Pullman Steward figures, and to be honest, again, they were the right price. I'm always looking for strange figures, unusual figures, figures to add to the collection. I am a little bit of a hoarder, you could say. I do my calendar every year, my advent calendar, and as you can see, these are figures out of boxes, out of my calendar, all different types of figures. And I'm a sucker for figures. I find that once you start building them out, you will actually get through quite a few figures. And I thought, yeah, why not? These are a little bit different, and I paid £5 for it. £5. These things are usually at least £11. And to be honest, for a £5, it was just a giveaway price. And it just made sense. Buy it with the decoder, save on the postage. You know, happy days. So there you go, they're the actual figures. So that's it. I will show you the listing for it, and we'll take it from there.
And here we go. This is the HM7000, the next 18 version. And it's Ian from Ian's Engage I've got to thank for this one. I did see these decoders come onto sale, but I actually realised they were on the Hornby site at the time, and I didn't honestly realise that other retailers were selling them at such a cheap price. And as you can see, Rails have them in. And yes, look at the price. That is cheaper than what you would have paid for an original Hornby sound decoder. And with these things, you can actually put your own sound on them. And for that price, you can afford to play with it. It would cost you that for a decent Engage decoder, a good quality Engage decoder, you would pay that much for. And all I am actually wanting is the sound elements. I don't need the motor control. and we get a nice little picture of the actual chip. You can actually see the actual Bluetooth connection, the little aerial built into the PCB there. These are obviously little wires that you can actually solder to. You can actually, that's programming. So I reckon they must program onto this chip at the factory, because TX and RX are receive and transmit data. So I wouldn't be surprised if these are programmable chips. And there's the bottom of it. That's your next 18 socket. That is what will actually plug into the adapter boards. And there's actually quite a few contacts we can actually plug into there. You've actually got your speaker outputs on here as well. Obviously, I will actually enter it via the actual adapter board. But there you go. That is the HM7000 Next 18. And at this price, you just can't go wrong. It gives the height, it gives the dimensions. Now, I'm not sure why Hornby are having such a flash sale on these decoders at the minute. I don't know if they've got an excess of stock. I don't know if they've got a new design coming out and they're just trying to get rid of some old stuff first before they push a new design. Because in all honesty, you can actually see the date on it. It says 2022, so these are early generation decoders. And I know when the next 18 decoders came out, they said at the time that they were limited to the components they could get due to COVID and what the factories were pumping out. So I'm just wondering now the world's getting back to normal a few years later, whether Horby have actually redesigned the decoder and we could be seeing something new. I honestly don't know. But I suspect something like that is going on in the background. Or it could be simply that Horby just need the money. You know, sometimes these companies just need to get a turnover. But yeah, at that price, it was a bargain. It's worth playing with, and I believe that I can put different sounds onto it, so I could change it from one loco sound to another if I wished. I don't think I'm restricted just to one loco on it. I'm pretty sure that if I wanted to change it to a different version, I could. So yeah, that is the Hornby HM7000. And here we go. Here's the Midland Pullman Stewards. Now, it's not to everybody's taste. This was a strange release by Farish. I could understand them with the actual Midland Pullman, but to release a set of figures for them. But they're unusual, they're different, they look very posh, like waiters, I suppose, very prestigious. Well, I can't honestly see them being big sellers. So I just thought that was an unusual choice by Farish to produce these figures. Now I could understand if they were locomotive crew, those you would sell by the thousands. But these? But again, at that price, £4.95, these things are normally £13.95, which is ridiculous. I wouldn't even dream of paying that. But for a fiver, they're definitely worth it. You know, these will find a use in a crowd. They could be used in a restaurant even. If you had a little restaurant going or a cafe going somewhere. You know that there are other options you could use these fellas for. Or you could just put them in coaches, put them as passengers, I suppose, as well. So, yeah, it's just a nice little bargain. And it was just a case of, you know, while you're paying postage for decoder, you may as well just get them for that silly money. Why not take advantage? So there you go. Those are the Midland Pullman Stewards.
Right then, so this is the haul for this month. Where do we start? Right, we've got 100 0603 pre-wired warm white LEDs. And yes, I will need a lot of LEDs, so never a miss. What else did we get? This bag. These are yellow 0603 pre-wired LEDs. I did count them, there's only 10 in there. If I'd have known how many you could actually get for the price you could get, I obviously would. But these, did I say I bought in 23? 23 or 24? These are quite a recent purchase. Right, what else did we get? It's been very, very much an LED day. We got these guys. Again, these are 603s. So these are actually going to be this size. But there's, I don't know how many's in a packet. 20. So there's 20 of them. That little gap there, you can actually see next to the tape feeder is the size one. So yes, I will need to solder them. But if I remember rightly, one is the actual infrared LED and one is the receiving LED. So what else have we got? We've got the next 18 sockets. So they're actually great. These I'll be using in my actual sound decoder modules, and actually it works out well. Got these just in time for the old Bluetooth sound decoder, which is here. So that will actually, if you look, that little white socket, let's zoomy. That little white socket at the end will actually fit into one of them. Just shows you how tiny these things are. Right, so what else have we got? And of course we got the people for the Midland Pullman. I do not have a Midland Pullman. Can't even say it properly. I do not even have a Midland Pullman. I'm not even considering getting one, but I can still use these figures somewhere. Figures always come in. So yeah, another nice addition. So very much lighting concentrated in this episode, with a sprinkling of next 18, I suppose. Oh, and I got these as well, the resistors and the capacitors. That's obviously for a project. I've got no idea what I had on mind at the time, but I'll go into the electronic spares and they will come in at some point. So there you go, guys. That is this week's Midweek Mail Bag. So take care, guys. I'll catch you again. Bye for now.